Okay, good evening, everyone. We are going to make a start. I think we've got more staff than we have non-members of staff this evening, but it's lovely to see you all. And we'll go through. It might mean that we can have some more personalised questions if necessary. So, welcome to our parent forum. I'll just introduce you to the other members of staff who are here today. Some through photograph, and one virtually as well. So myself, I'm currently associate head teacher with Dave Howe, having now overseeing both BTEA and Abbey Wood Community School. Karen is joining us as well, our pastoral support manager, who you all know. Loatman, who is presenting this evening, is our designated safeguarding lead. Michelle is also here with me, and she's going to be managing the chat if you've got questions and that we can return to at the end. And also here this evening on screen is Anna. Do you want to just introduce yourself, Anna? Well, yeah.
Thanks, Ben. So my name's Anna Sims. I joined Abbey Wood just after Easter as an assistant head teacher. Really enjoying my second term here. It's brilliant to be here. Previously was working at Brimsham Green in Yate. So yeah, I just wanted to really just log on and say hello and introduce myself to you all. Very sad I didn't make it onto the slide, sir.
Well, your photograph would look more like you do now than mine looks like me. So I think I might do a bit of an upgrade once I've had a haircut. Right, okay. I just want to start off actually with just a thank you. So I'm just going to show you a 1 minute little video just to extend our thanks to you. Okay, thank you very much. We're here now working well with our students, your children, because of our partnership with you, and that's testament to the fact that you're here this evening as well. So thank you on both counts, and I certainly am looking forward to continue working with you as we move into next year and hopefully more positive things to come. A quick reminder, if you've been here before and looking at the names, I think you probably all have, please do write in the chat box any questions. We'll return to those towards the end, and then we'll make sure that we post them on the website as well. And of course, I know you'll be polite and positive as we work our way through this evening, and hopefully you'll find it useful as well. If you've got any specific queries about individuals, then please do email us directly, either using that email address or equally the email address you saw on slide 2. And we'll post this on our website as well. Quick request from me into the chat room. I'd be really appreciate your feedback on how you have found the virtual parents' evenings this year. So if you could, I would be really grateful if you can just pop something in the chat box through the next hour on how you found it, and in terms of it being useful, so that we can think about some of the things we've done this year that we may keep as we move forward. So this evening, I'm going to very briefly talk teacher assessed grades, where we're at the moment. And then the large main function of this evening is to share our findings and go through the next steps on how we manage peer-on-peer abuse. As I said, Nikki Loatman, our designated safeguarding lead, will lead on that. We'll have a couple of reminders that hopefully you'll find useful. and then we'll respond to the questions that you have as well. So quick bit of information about our the tags, the assessments for year 10, 11, 12 and 13. 10th of August and the 12th of August are our days to collect results. We are going to do that in person, is what we are intending to do. So for year 13, we'll have that on the 10th of August from 9:30 to 11, and on the 12th, 9:30 to 11 on that day. Year 10 and 12, just to manage the number of students in the school, we will email those ones home. So these results in person, and clearly, you know, they're really important to be able to address any questions as well, will be for year 13 and year 11. So where we're at the moment, we've gone through this particular slide because you'll see at the bottom there, we have sent off all of the grades to the exam boards. What then happened is we were asked to send some evidence as well. So we've also sent off all of the evidence, and there may be some visits from exam boards to check on our processes. As yet, we haven't been requested to have any of those. That's where we are at the moment until the 16th of July, you know, and they may well ask us to have a look at some more information. We haven't, as I said, yet been asked to provide any more information, and we're very content that the process was very fair and very robust indeed. After that, as I said, on the 10th and 12th of August, students will receive their grades, and then on our website and through my correspondence, if students or parents think there's been an error in deciding their grade, then we've provided the appeals process for you, and I can provide more specific detail on that as and when that may come about. So that's where we are with our exam year groups at the moment, and I'm going to pass straight over now to Nikki. Nikki, I'll just move it on so you can just let me know. It's probably
all right. Thanks, Ben. I know this may be a difficult subject, but it's a really important one. That I think we all need to work together to support our students and your children. If you could just next slide, Ben, please. So the session objective tonight is that I just want to share with you, you know, and understand the key definitions and language around sexual harassment and sexual violence between children. Next one. So you may have seen this in the news recently. It went viral back in March of this year, where this young lady set up an online, what am I looking for? Website where she asked for input and feedback on children's experiences, just so that she could get an idea of, you know, where we're at across the country. So next one, please, Mr. Dilley. So this looks at the scale of the problem across the country. And to add to these statistics, evidence shows that girls and children who are lesbian, gay, bisexual or trans, they're perceived to be and are also a greater risk of sexual violence and sexual harassment. Also, it's worth considering and worth remembering that primary age children, they're not immune from risk. And a recent Panorama programme revealed that there were at least 456 reports of sexual offences by children aged 10 and under. So I think in reflecting back on and looking at these statistics, it sort of emphasises, you know, the scale of the problem. And we always should assume, and we do try to assume in school, and I think as parents as well, you just have to assume that it could happen. And with that mindset, I think it's, you know, a lot easier for us to try and change some of the thinking with some of our students and children. So looking now at the definitions, this goes on to explain, I think is quite important as well, the difference in the different contexts of peer-on-peer abuse. So any abuse between children, any type of abuse is considered as part of the peer-on-peer abuse concerns. Sexual harassment, that's any sexual behaviour without consent, and sexual violence, that includes rape, assault by penetration or sexual assault. And consent also having the freedom and capacity to choose. So, and what we try to do is, you know, what we're trying to do, and I want us all to do more as in school, is to get our students to understand that it's never acceptable to tolerate any form of peer-on-peer abuse. And it's not acceptable if we or they pass it off as banter or just having a laugh, and part of growing up, because, you know, it's a lot more serious than that. Sexual harassment, this goes into quite a bit of detail, and this is around telling lewd jokes or lewd stories or calling someone sexualized names, that sort of thing. Sexual jokes or taunting, you know, somebody of the opposite sex. It also incorporates sexual harassment online, which can be standalone, and that's the non-consensual sharing of sexual images and videos. It's no longer referred to as sexting. It's now called sharing nudes, sharing semi-nudes. So they're trying to get away from some of the terminology. So what can you do as a parent? What I would say is keep having conversations and reinforcing and explaining what healthy relationships are, whether that's friendships or more of a romantic relationship. And for children to dismiss or tolerate any form of sexual harassment, I just think it risks them, it puts at risk them normalizing it. And we don't want that to be perceived as being normal. I've put a couple of links here, and they've got some really fabulous advice, not just about peer-on-peer abuse, but about lots of aspects, mental health, etc. So one is the NSPCC link, and they are absolutely fabulous, and we get information from them every week. And the other one is Safer Internet UK, and there's a lot of tips on there for parents as well as professionals in school. So they're two really good sources of information. So unfortunately, this does happen, and this comes into school quite a bit, the sharing of nudes and semi-nudes. And, you know, unfortunately, some people, some children think that they're in a relationship, a trusting relationship, and that the sharing of pictures is just between two people, but it doesn't always, it doesn't always happen as, not easy is the wrong word, but it's just, you know, it's underage, it's not underage, it's illegal, and they're underage, and sharing of nudes, semi-nudes, you know, we just need to express and keep reminding them the seriousness of this and the consequences of this. So I'd like us all to remember sexual harassment, sexual violence are not acceptable and will never be tolerated. Please keep talking and reminding your child about healthy relationships, and encourage your child to talk to you or a trusted adult if they have any concerns about themselves or friends, no matter how small. That would be brilliant. And then finally, on the last slide, our responses to school, where we'd like to be and what we'd like to do as a preventative measure. So we want the students to understand what peer-on-peer abuse is, and we will be doing work with that, which will be, I'd imagine, quite distressing for some of them, but it's definitely, we need to educate them. And we're going to do that through the year groups, especially around consent, and we're going to do that at an age appropriate level. So as they go up the years, it will become more appropriate to, you know, their ages. We provide appropriate and regularly, we update our staff cohort, so they're fully aware of, you know, what we're doing from the pastoral side. So it's a joined up approach across school. We're going to challenge all inappropriate behaviours. and we're going to provide a preventative curriculum programme for all students. We work with local partners and we'll continue to do that, and we will seek specialist support for students as and when needed. But I think finally, and the most important message I'd like to give, is that all safeguarding work is a holistic approach involving all stakeholders, be that schools, students, parents and external agencies. And if we all work together collaboratively, then we've got the best chance and for our students, so that they're aware and they know the concerns and the risks that they may take. Thank you, Mr. Dilly.
Thank you very much, Nicky. That's really informative and obviously a really important issue for us to share with you this evening. Any questions, I've said, can come through to Nicky if you want to contact her directly. Her email address is on one of the first slides, and we'll be very happy to support in whatever way we can. We're going to move on to a couple of reminders now. Firstly, some uniform reminders. Karen, if I can ask you just to go through any of these, please, that'd be great.
Yes, of course. So, hello everyone. It's very nice to see you guys. From looking at the names, I don't think that you guys have students who we have an issue with uniform with, but just some reminders, because I know we're recording this. The polo shirts are quite straightforward. Everyone seems to be quite comfortable with wearing the right colour polo shirts on the right days. We do have a couple of kind of concerns about students who are not wearing plain black tailored trousers, skirts or shorts. Skirts need to be knee length to be kind of appropriate, maintain people's modesty, and trousers need to be tailored, not stretchy and not leggings, unless it's a PE day, in which case they are part of the uniform for the moment. Okay, so until we can, we've got enough stock of some of the new PE kit in September. Footwear needs to be plain black and sensible, so it could be shoes, but it could also be trainers. A lot of our students do wear plain black trainers, but they need to be without logos or bright colours or anything else on there. Jewellery, we've noticed that now that we don't have face masks anymore, some of the nose piercings that were done during the COVID pandemic have been a bit more visible. So please, a reminder that no facial piercings at all. We will be asking people to remove those. And jewellery should just be one pair of plain studs in the ears only. Nails need to be short and safe length of natural colour, so not bright colours, no acrylics, no kind of gel nails, and they just need to be short and safe, because it is a health and safety requirement when we are doing subjects like food technology, PE, DT, etc. And hair, please, can that be a natural colour? And red doesn't count as a natural colour, nor does purple. So please make sure that they, if it is dyed, which it shouldn't really be, but if it is dyed, that it is a normal kind of hair colour. All right, the PE kit is on there. I've put the pictures on for everyone. We are really pleased that we've now got some Abbey Wood branded sports trousers. That are a bit nicer and a bit more up to date than our previous ones, and they've just been put online, so Harris Sports are selling those for us, as with the usual uniform. But please, could we make sure when we're looking for September that we're buying the appropriate kit from Harris Sports, please. That's it, Mr. J. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And it's worth just adding, as Karen said at the start, that I would say that 98% of our students look absolutely fantastic, and those are the standards that we're trying to uphold, and we're very proud of the way that our students look. So thank you for your support with that. Okay, I'm going to move on. There's a lot of text here with regards to an update following yesterday's announcement from the Education Secretary. So I'm going to go through these just for, and as I said, if there's any questions, pop them in the chat. This is as we know at the moment, and there's a couple that I'll elaborate on We've been working furiously this afternoon to start getting things in place for September. So the current arrangements we've got are going to remain in place until the end of term. So, you know, you'll have read or heard that some of the arrangements will change on the 19th of July. Well, we're going to maintain until the end of our term student bubbles. So they won't be in existence in September. So students will not have to be in their particular bubbles during the school day. So that means we'll be able to make use of specialist classrooms as well. And there will be more movement around the school. One of the things we're doing now, as I said at the very beginning, is we're trying to work out what parts that changes we've made during the COVID era we're going to maintain. So actually the one-way staircase system we are very likely to continue because it is much safer and the flow of students around the school is much more effective that way. So the requirement for masks for staff is going to end, but again, you know, absolutely welcome for both staff and students to continue wearing face masks, not an issue at all. You don't, or your children do not have to carry on with the home-based LFT over the summer, but again, you're very welcome to, should you wish. When we do return, we're told at the moment that those tests will return and there is an expectation for those to continue at home. In addition, we have been asked by the government to carry out 2 tests before our students return for learning in September. We found that out yesterday. Today, I know Michelle, who's sitting with me, has been working very hard with the rest of the trust team and myself to try and work out exactly how we're going to get that in place so we can have the safe return of all students. And we're waiting for a little bit of clarification from the government, but rest assured that we will make sure that's done effectively and safely so that we can have students back with us as soon as we possibly can. And we still have the intention that year 7 will be returning for learning on the first Friday. I think I've put the date on the next slide actually. On the first Friday, they'll have their second test on that Friday. So it does mean that we'll have the first test from them on the 31st of August. More details will come out as and when we know. And I'm sorry, I can't give you more absolute clear detail with that at the moment. With positive tests, lateral flow tests, then we'll have the PCR test. We'll obviously follow that as well. And that's really, really important that that's done within the 2 days. Because as is at the moment, because it really helps us with track and trace. And I'll come to that on point 16 as well. Please continue and encourage your children to continue with the good hygiene that they have been doing. We'll continue with the enhanced cleaning. You'll have heard about ventilation of schools possibly on the news. We're fortunate in that our school building has got very effective ventilation anyway as part of the build. We will continue, as we have done throughout, working very closely with the local public health team. Any student that we have to ask to self-isolate, firstly through a positive test, can be difficult, mainly because of the health concerns. We've been fortunate that positive cases, our students or staff haven't been very unwell. But any students that we then ask to isolate at home for 10 days, it is done with a heavy heart, but is done with advice from Public Health England and is done through a very effective track and trace that we carry out. It has meant that we haven't had to send out whole year groups for 10 days. But we have been very close to that, and we are still very close to that at the moment. And that's more to do with the number of staff that are also being asked to self-isolate. At the moment, we're okay, but we've got 2 weeks more for us to get through. And I'm hoping very much, unlike my children's schools, that we won't have to send the whole year group home and they have an extended break. But thank you for continuing to work with us on that front. Again, self-isolation is going to be important. If any member of the household has COVID-19 symptoms. Of course, as we've got at the moment, remote learning is in place for anyone who has to self-isolate. And finally, I said I'd get there, 14, the track and trace that we carry out in school, which I believe is very effective, is actually going to be removed from us from September, and NHS test and trace will take over, which hopefully means that it will just be the close contact of a positive case, and it won't be students within the same classroom or the same bubble. Much more information to come from us on that as we get to grips with what is expected from schools with regards to COVID-19 and the testing. For me, if I would ask you just to continue with those tests over the summer, or in particular towards the end of summer, make sure that your children are comfortable, or as best you can be, or confident in how to administer one of the tests, so that when we do the in-school ones, it just makes the process much, much quicker, and we can get through more year groups in a day, and that will enable us to get all of the children back for learning as soon as we can, following the 3rd of September. Okay, we've had to change this slightly because of the news we had yesterday, but in terms of not sharing information of coming back after September, because we don't yet know exactly. But term will end this year from 12:05 on Thursday the 22nd. We'll take an afternoon registration. There'll be a slight change to the morning. There'll be 2 lessons as normal, but then we'll have an extended tutor period. School lunches will be available for all students on that day, and then school will close at 1:05. So they've got an hour if they want to stay in school for lunch. Apologies, there is a missing T. Food support, we would like to support you. Should you need support, please do contact the school if you need support over the summer break. Very grateful for you to do that. As always, please do keep in touch. We send out the newsletter. There's lots of information that goes in the newsletter. There will be hopefully a degree of celebration of some great achievements that our students have made this year. It's not the same as usual in terms of we're not having the big assemblies, but we really hope we're going to return to that. Well, we're confident we're going to return to that when we come back in September. Lots of information there in terms of how to keep in touch with us. From me, I'm going to say thank you, but before I do so, I'm just going to check with my colleague Michelle if there's any questions. I think there are no questions that need address, unless anyone wants to write them in now, whilst I'm saying thank you to you all for joining us this evening, and moving on to, I'm saying it slowly in case there are any questions, the question and answer section. Or if you're welcome to ask any questions. There are only 4 of you, so if you wanted to ask a question, you're welcome to do so. Now, what I'll do is I will stay online for another 5 minutes. So if you did want to stay on and ask any questions, that's absolutely fine. And otherwise, I wish you a good evening. Thank you very much, and I look forward to writing to you in the newsletter in a couple of weeks. Thank you all.